years, New Zealand is supposed to be smoke-free. But campaigners say reaching the goal is going to take a lot more education and a much tougher line with the tobacco industry.
Good afternoon. My name is Cameron Parlett, student number 19063494. Here in New Zealand, cigarette smoking has become a massive problem, with nearly 16% of the population smoking cigarettes. So in March 2018, cigarette smoking, the government changed the packaging to make it more standardized to lower the consumption of cigarettes. Things including brand names, fonts, size, and colors are now in place for the new pictures and health warnings to be ultimately effective. And on this standardized packaging, 75% of the front of the tobacco packs has to be pictures and health warnings. So furthermore, all marketing for the tobacco company must also be removed. So, as I said before, standardized packaging is what consumers, well, ultimately smokers, first see when faced with the decision to first buy cigarettes. And then secondly, every single time they go to reach in for a cigarette to smoke it. I just feel like the purpose of the standardized packaging includes making a smoker visually see the multiple consequences of smoking cigarettes. I feel as if the packaging killed two birds with one stone. Along with the font being at least 75% of the health warnings, the company can no longer market their products. So overall, the policy intends to not only make health warnings more noticeable, but to lessen the social approval of tobacco and reduce the appeal for people to start smoking in the first place. So over the years, the government has tried to put in taxes to increase the prices of cigarettes to decrease consumption of the cigarettes. As New Zealand has raised the taxes on cigarettes, there tends to be a lower amount of people constantly consuming cigarettes, but it's at a very small rate. In New Zealand, the price of a pack of 25 cigarettes is around $37.48, one of the most expensive prices globally. 16% of the New Zealand people smoke on a regular basis. This is also one of the highest percentages globally. Over time, taxes on cigarettes continue to rise in hopes of decreasing cigarette consumption more drastically. But there are two ways to look at the taxation of cigarettes based on recent data. Increasing the real price of cigarette has reduced consumption by only 2%. This can first be seen as an inelastic situation regarding a large price change only yields a small consumption change. As we look at the graph, we see that at a selling price of $2 a pack, 15 billion packs are sold. Looking at the second graph, and after implementing a $2 tax on the pack, that's doubling the selling price to $4, and there are still 10 billion packs sold. So in conclusion, a large increase in price due to a tax does not lead to a large decrease in consumption of these packs. It is also noteworthy to see that the consumer surplus increases due to the tax, as the burden of the tax impacts the consumers the most. When faced with the ongoing problem of cigarette smoking, a policy I believe would be increasing the government budget toward awareness in schools. During grades 6 through 12, many teens become aware of cigarettes, whether it be from family members, mates, or just from social aspects around the city. If the government increases their budget toward education and the harm of cigarettes and the problems they cause, many young people would view cigarettes in a negative way, and it would lower the chances of them wanting to try a cigarette for the first time. This halts the chance for addiction. So in conclusion, cigarette addiction has become a problem in today's society. As the government has tried to decrease consumption by taxing cigarettes, it has ultimately failed due to the lack of substitutes and the inelastic consumption addicts have toward them. Another policy the government has tried was to stop the marketing for cigarettes while increasing the labels of the packs to include the horrible health warnings and problems caused from smoking, while often including a disturbing image of someone whose health is disgustingly low from the act of smoking. I believe the most effective way to discourage smoking would be to increase government spending toward the harms of cigarette smoking in schools. This would be a long-term solution to prevent high cigarette consumption to the future generations. Thank you for listening. Here's an example of a pack of cigarettes in New Zealand. As you notice, the health and warnings take up more than 70% of the packaging.
Every cigarette 0800 778 778.